Here's the URL for the training, Open University at Acumatica.com. And there's some courses there, and I think there's a couple of really interesting documents out there which I want to share with you, and hopefully, again, maybe you know about these, but if not, I think they're of great value to anybody who's using Acumatica. Okay, product life cycle. Acumatica as a next generation product, it is not one of those, unless you're on a small license, then you automatically get updated. And so that being said, you're always up to date. Basically monthly, you're getting updates. People who are not on the small license, you have the option as a virtual environment out there in Acumatica to take the upgrades and when you want to take them. The customizations that are done, the report changes that are done, the inquiries, the dashboards, many of those things quickly can be upgraded, but it is something that you have to kind of plan for and think about. And this graphic kind of shows us exactly what's going on with some of the 2020 versions, the 21 versions, and even the 22 version that we're going to talk about later today. So it's laid out exactly where these things start, where the middle is, and where the end of each of these is. The development that goes into the new versions of Acumatica is substantial, and we're going to see some of that a little bit later in the 22R1 version. So there's times when it makes sense to upgrade. There's times when maybe you've got some complex integrations and you don't want to upgrade every time. You have control over when you do an upgrade. But if you get behind, like as we see here, 2020 R1 is now sunset. So that is now out of support. When you run out of support on your current version and you do your next update as far as your renewal, there's going to be a penalty for not keeping current. So we don't want that to happen. I guess that's one of the reasons we want to clarify this for you. There's enormous benefits in keeping current, and there's enormous, as I said, there's a lot of development going on into each of these new releases. So there's things that will help you in your business and make you more efficient just by keeping current. Just want to briefly talk about that. Sometimes this raises some questions. Again, if you have questions about this, reach out to myself, your sales rep, any of your consultants that you're dealing with. So just want to make sure that this is on your radar. Acumatica Customer Bill of Rights. And again, this is a commitment from the executive team and the ownership team, the board of Acumatica, about your rights as a customer. A sustainable pricing with annual increases not more than 3%. That's a big one. I think in the legacy world that I think some of us are used to, 3%. Is a very small number in comparison, and the amplification of licensing does really become kind of counterproductive at some point. Acumatica, for the 3% increases that they have, they bring a lot of value to that, as we'll see later on with some of these new releases. It's clear to understand, and one of the other most important things about living in a SaaS environment, a subscription cloud environment, is the confirmation of who owns your data. You own your data. There's no question about that. Access to your data anytime. So you want a copy of your data, you can do a snapshot, you can take it off, and you can go to an unlicensed version of Acumatica, set it up, and have access to your data forever, indefinitely. So we want to make sure that's crystal clear. That's not all SaaS companies feel that way, and I think it's important to kind of highlight those few things. The consumption-based licensing, it's another real benefit. The multiple ways that you can deploy it and the multiple ways that you can license it, so that we look at business documents, so that as somebody in the warehouse or some salesman on the road or people who are casual users and not your hardcore day-to-day heavy entry people in your office, they all get logins. There's no reason not to have everybody with a seat on the bus. I guess we like to put it that way, so that everybody gets access to the software, even if they're on the road and they're only in there a couple times a week. They still get a license. A few of those kind of high level important points to the customer bill of rights. And again, this is published on the website. If you want copies of this, we'd be more happy to send it to you. Again, contact myself, contact Lauren from marketing, contact your sales rep, anybody.